Evening, and welcome to the National AIDS Memorial and the 2021 National Observance of World AIDS Day. I appreciate everybody being willing to wear masks this evening after the announcement today. I'll talk a little bit more about that a little bit later. But I'd like to start off the program and introduce a dear friend of the memorial, a longtime advocate and activist, and a community healer. Who is going to start us off with a spiritual opening. Please welcome Kevin Fong and SB Greenwood.
Oh, no, nature halame kalehu.
Fragrant with hala and lahana.
Halelehuano yanakano.
It is a lehua-laden house of the mist.
Oh, kauno ienoine.
Mine to desire.
Yane hoyo kahikimai.
Your coming fills me with eagerness.
Hikimai no ko.
Now that you have come,
Hikipuno me keloha.
love comes with you.
Aloha 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 mai kako. Good evening, everyone. I bring you greetings from the traditional land of the Ohlone people, currently known as Golden Gate Park, San Francisco, California. My name is Kevin Kahakula Akea John Fong, and I am so honored to be here tonight. I came of age here, right here in San Francisco in the Bay Area, during the early stages of the HIV/AIDS epidemic. I worked at a clinic by day and tended to friends and loved ones by night. It is these hands that help to care for, fight for, and ultimately grieve for. I stopped counting at 175 friends, colleagues, clients, beloveds. And it is in their honor and in their name that I come here tonight. I also want to honor the long-term survivors, the caregivers, the allies, the advocates who are here as well. There are so many friends out here, their ashes, their memorials. We are in the presence of the sacred here, and I welcome you. So, it is about 62, 63 degrees here in San Francisco, and I know weather is relative. My hands are cold. So I want you to, if you can, put down anything that's in your hands, and join me in something I call warming hands. So just rub your hands together. Get your hands nice and warm. I'll give you about 5 or 10 seconds to do so. And when I count to 3, you're going to place one hand over your heart and the other over your belly. It will look like this or this, okay? Doesn't matter which hand goes where. Here we go. And 1, 2, 3. Close your eyes if you're comfortable and just take a few deep breaths in your own pace. Letting you feel the vibration of the ground here. For those of you at home, feeling the environment, the surroundings, just get a little more quiet. Make your out breath or your exhale last about 4 counts longer than your in breath, so it's nice and sustained. Feeling the warmth of your hands on your heart and your belly, and understanding and acknowledging that alone in these times is a blessing and a miracle. Noticing the ease of your breath, and gifting that ease of breath to someone who is struggling to breathe right now, whether you know them or not. People around the world are struggling just to breathe, whether it's physical, economic, or emotional. Give them a moment of respite, a moment of remembrance of what it feels like to breathe easily. and to our ancestors right here in this grove, and to the first people of the land upon which you are sitting. Honoring them and asking them for their continued guidance and wisdom, their continued sense of balance and perspective, and most importantly, their continued sense of hope and inspiration. May what we do tonight, may our thoughts, words, and deeds bring honor to their memory. Continue breathing as I read this short passage from a book I wrote, a novel called Redeeming Enchantments. Our culture has two times. There is regular time, it ticks by. Then there is another time. Artists drift into it when they work, lovers when they love, martyrs when they make their decision to die. It is a time of enchantment. It too is real, maybe even more real, because it is saturated with eternity. Most of the time, enchanted time comes at the expense of real time. But in some way, it doesn't seem to matter. If, in the end, people can love with an open heart, lives are redeemed, even short ones. Take a breath. And as you exhale, just drop your hands, gently shake it out. Open your eyes if they were closed. Give me a quick wave or a smile. Hi everyone. Welcome back. Glad you didn't fall asleep. So as we continue with the ceremony of reading of names and our gathering of celebration tonight, I want to lift up the names of people I hold dear who I lost to HIV and AIDS. Bill Richmond, Tom Cuthbert Sims, Scott Kaliula Okala Galuteria, Douglas Hokua Kalani Wong, and Gerard Thomas. May we remember their names, their gifts, and honor their fabulousness by sharing their stories and redeeming enchantments. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Before we begin our formal program, we've got a great treat. We're honored to have with us tonight a former board member of this organization, the daughter of our beloved Speaker Pelosi, our beloved Christine Pelosi, who I would like to invite up to say a few words to us all tonight. Christine.
Thank you, John, and this is so beautiful to see the Grove in all its color. I'm so excited to be here with my daughter Bella, with her gunkles Tom and Eric and Jim and Dan Bernal, Chief of Staff to Speaker Pelosi, who was lighting up the Capitol tonight with the Capitol Christmas tree that was from California. So from coast to coast, we're trying to bring light on a day where we remember those who died of AIDS, where we remember those who died of institutional homophobia, where we remember those who died because our healthcare system was not built for people with AIDS until the people of San Francisco led the way in making it so. We fought for housing opportunities for people with AIDS. We fought for healthcare for people with AIDS. We fought for non-discrimination. We fought for there to be this beautiful grove. And I remember coming in the early days with Tom, with Alice Russell Shapiro, with so many of the people, David Smith Fox, so many names who are now inscribed in the circle, some still with us and some only in our hearts. And it was a time, some of the people that came to the Grove in the early days used to come in its earlier incarnation. Kevin, you talked about the different uses of the land, and this had been a gathering place of a different sort before. And then to see some of the entertainers come here and make it a place of healing, make it a place of hope, make it a place of friendship. It was also a place where people in the late 80s were writing home and saying, Mom, Dad, I'm dying of what they call the gay cancer. And Mom, Dad, I'm gay. Coming out as someone with a terminal disease at the same time was so painful for our community. But thanks to the volunteers with the quilt, the volunteers with the Grove, the volunteers, the caregivers, after 1 or 2 funerals a day, finally, when the disease turned the corner, we were able to make the Grove a place of healing and remembrance. And so tonight, on World AIDS Day, we commit to an AIDS-free generation. We commit to universal testing and ending this stigma and making sure that in this time of COVID, that we don't have other people who are othered by virtue of being Asian American, by virtue of being South African, by virtue of being anything other than human beings. The disease does not discriminate, and we shouldn't either. So tonight, let us join together with a sense of hope and light in the darkness for that AIDS-free generation we all know is possible. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Christine. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Espy. Those were great remarks. They were part of what I would have said to you as well, but they were so great to hear from Christine. My name is John Cunningham. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the National AIDS Memorial, and I'm a man living with AIDS. I would like to offer, and I know it's dark, but I would like to offer and avail the opportunity of anyone here that is living with HIV and AIDS to raise your hand and be acknowledged. Today, we stand in solidarity, and we stand together in comfort as our hearts are heavy and we remember those that we've lost. You know, I lived in the center of the Castro district and was a community organizer in the early and mid 80s, and I remember vividly what was going on. I remember vividly the fear that we were all faced, and it was the same fear that those living in Los Angeles or Chicago or New York or Miami or Boston were feeling, mainly in major metropolitan areas. It's the fear of the unknown, but it's also the fear that we were being rejected, we were being erased, and we were being looked at as other. Today, because of the work that we've all done, we've stood up, we've fought, we've brought action, and we've brought change, not only to those living with HIV and AIDS and remembering those that we've lost, but to so many other areas of our society, of our medical community. Today, on World AIDS Day, we had a virtual conversation in which and you can go to our website at aidsmemorial.org and see the numerous conversations. One was a conversation with Tony Fauci talking to our young leaders from the Pedro Zamora Scholarship Program, or White House AIDS Policy Director Harold Phillips having a conversation with Dr. Gandhi, as well as Paul Kawada. Or we honored this year on National Leadership Recognition awardees to pose in the conversation with Stephen Canals, the visionary creator, Our Lady J, who was a writer and producer, and of course Billy Porter. And I hearkened to Billy Porter's conversation of a couple weeks ago when it was recorded, because really what was going on, it was the day after the Kyle Rittenhouse verdict. And Billy talked about being erased. And he talked about America having a tendency to want to erase things, wanting to whitewash it, wanting to make it look good. And he said, that Pose gave him the courage to come out as an HIV positive man. And then Protease in 1996 came out. And as he said, it gave America an opportunity to try to erase the tragedy of AIDS. Well, we stand here today to make sure that it is not erased, because it's not only the story of an epidemic, it is also a story of courage and strength and action and activism, but also it's a story, as Pose so amazingly brought to the screen, of family, of community, of love, and a commitment. Being of the age I am, I hearken back to the days of the AIDS crisis when it was awful, it was tragic. But we were together and we were bound and we helped each other. And today, the mayor of our city and the health commissioner, Grant Colfax, announced that the Omicron virus had been detected in San Francisco. And that's why we asked everybody to wear masks tonight. We are so blessed to live in a community that understands what the words public health mean. It's about public and it's about health. It's about my health and your health are intertwined together. We have one of the highest vaccination rates. We're not afraid to wear a mask. We're not afraid to reach out a hand and help a neighbor. We can lead the way. We will prevail through this. The AIDS crisis has shown America that we can and will persevere. We will be resilient, and we will not allow stigma and discrimination and otherisms to rule the day, because we've been down that path, and we will not go back again. So today, I hold in my heart the names that I will read of those I've lost. As I said, I will invite you to come over to the stage in just a moment, please. And this binder has 450 names in it that we hope that you will read, and you will bring your own names to bear as well. So again, on this beautiful night, we're treating the community to this amazing light show. We're keeping it on tonight and as an extension from last night, because it's a matter of shining the light where there is darkness, coming out of the darkness and into the light, because that is what we have done as a community. Thank you.
Hi, we're going to start the reading of the names that are engraved in memorial in the grove, and the ones that have been added into the quilt this last year. Todd Eric Bennett, Gregor Kalfas, Jim Ponder, Roy and Marcy Mangini, Lenore Pally Waters, Diet Popsitute, Jose Campos Nelson, Blair Miller and Michael DeMose, Justin Troxel and John Martinez, Douglas Robert Griggs, Patricia Klein Kuhn, Joseph E. Terrasano, Jeffrey Wong, Wes and John Huggett, Joseph Thomas Davis, David Lilly, Kirk Baxter, Billy Conrad, Randy Carter, Armando Armaro, Bernard Laburisk, David Clark, Marvin Feldman, Jack Castor, Scott Lago, and Joey Van Es Ballesteros.
Richard Cole, Daniel Castaneda, Vance Ogden, Corinne Faye Mabner, William Joseph Joyner II, Thomas S. Mountain, Robin Allen Conway and William Harry Mott, Thomas Gary Skanderson, Peter A. DiGiorgio, Robert Hale, Gary Armand Woodford, Michael P. Stone, Tryfen Maurice Ibelin Lude, Jason W. Bennett, Gerard P. Wolick, Byron Mason, Nancy Thomas, Richard Michael Paris, Matthew Sterling Lindstedt, Warren Keith Efforts. And for all the veterans that passed away from AIDS, God bless you.
Paul Barnett, Joseph C. Romero Jr., George and William Crossland, Billy Eichner, Sister Ruth Hall, John Ham and Steve Ware, Melwin Mandeep Singh, Rodney W. Graves, Victor G. M. Perez, Stephen Wilborn and Ed Merrill, Stephen Satyricon, Dr. Fred Strauss, Charles Robert Marcellus, Frank Graham, John Allen Beertus, Bill Barrick, Linda Maxey, Alyssa Chandler, John Stefanik and Jonathan Batello, Joe Peckerman, and Ralph Jennings.
Jacob DeRoca Kinchlow, Christopher DeRoca Kinchlow, Greg Stratton and Wally Bowman, James Charles Seabrook, Phil Conway, Len Lovisi, John Allen Beertus, John J. Kavanaugh, and Kim R. Furstenworth. The Farrell family, Lance Relicky, Sean Rossiter, Paul Highfield, Andrew E. Cushing, and Ralph C. Burr Jr., Jimmy T. Hanna, Thomas P. O'Leary, Melinda and Cole Cuthbert, Ralph Jennings, Dale Norris Shaw, John Albert Johnson, John Brinson, Randy Harvey, and Michael Boyd.
Ezekiel Guerreras, NYC Remembers. Stephen Nam Yoho Renjikayo, Oscar Garcia Viega, Brian Packer, Carlos Riviera, Bridget, Louis Lefty, David Miranda, Stephen, Ron Kangas, Al DeGaldo, Bufford, Tony Milano, Carlos Gill, Pat P., Juan Delgado, Anthony and Robert, Richard Backer, Carlos Melendez, Uncle Larry, Lebron, Craig, Leave Sender, Elio Bilek Sadatis, Michael, Gilbert, Craig W., Jerry Maston, Amor DeRay, Frankie King Cisco, Scott Rabin, TJ Andrews, Tom Coffey, David Filippo, Javier Mendoza, Kenny Cruz, Stephen, Michael Austin, Michael Siebers, Darlene, Ruben, Dan, my dearest son, Jasper, AIDS affects us all, Loverboy, Peter Dutch, John Linehan, my cousin, William S. Ryan, Eric Lindsay, Jim, my darling, Tom Miller, Crispin, Catherine Wendy Haynes.
Excuse me. I'm looking for the stopping point. Yeah? Frankie King Cisco, Scott Rabin, TJ Andrews, Tom Coffey, David Filippo, Javier Mendoza, Kenny Cruz, Stephen, Michael Austin, Michael Siebers, Daleen, Ruben, Dan, my dearest son, Jasper, AIDS Affects Us All, Loverboy, Peter Dutch, John Lenahan, my cousin, William S. Ryan, Eric Lindsay, Jim, my darling, Tom Miller, Crispin, Bobby Hilliard, Jeffrey Beaton, my brother David Jensen. Leon McCusick, Bobby Campbell, Bobby Reynolds, Dan Turner, Paul Castro.
Jeff, Imagula, Ellen Clapp, Danny, William S. Ryan, Larry, Connie, Kenny, Roger, and Rhonda, Matthew Gregory, David Powell, Stephen, Donna, Bob Horan, Richard Torres, Steve, Vinny Mancusa, Sil, Mason, to all of those gone but not forgotten. Yez Bouchesne, Mark St. Edwards, Dan, Mario Amatucci.
Jean, Joe Field, John Nagel, Brian, Francisco, David, Walter Branch, Stephen Lunt, Chicky, Joe Fields, Dr. Stephen Gum, Willie, Bob Chambers, Bobby Hoska, Michael Angelo Garcia, The Grove and the Quilt Remembers, Tom Davis, Alex McGrath, Sylvester, Jack Castor, James Durant, and my brother Joseph C. Romero Jr.
Roger Lyon, Steve Abayata, Les Lewis, Marvin Fieldman, Clark Kelly, Brad Hay, Scott Lago, Dan Kusick, Joey Van S. Ballesteros, Neil Lewis, David Calgaro, Tony Treviso, David Ibar Gwen, Rebecca LaPierre, Les Dirks, Greg Reynolds, Michelle Collin, Alec Cunningham, Buddy Clark, Ken Borg, and Steve Newberger.
Jim Reuter, Von Duvis Jacobs, The Normal Heart, The Quilt, St. Anthony's Parish, The Normal Heart, Kelly Crandall, Carolyn Bolton, Cheryl Courtney Evans, AIDS Healthcare Foundation, Deirdre Lawson, Gwendolyn Payne, Rosalind Teresa Lohman, Harry, Roosevelt, Stephen, Black Brothers Esteem, John Cyril Hardman, For Those That Suffered in Silence, Daniel Herrera, Alan Luis Landis, and my friend Danny Snodgrass.
James McKinley, Bob Kearns, Rick Velez, Michael Eves, Thomas Moneypenny Boyd, Jerry Chalmers, Rhett Steckline, Leonard Riley, James Bryson, Bobby Campbell, Garth Wall, Jeff Ingalls, Michael Brown, Rod Shellnut, Dave Fish, Brent Burns, Harry Ray, Bill Camillo, Scotty, David Smith Fox, and all of the caregivers in the earliest days of the epidemic, particularly the very courageous women.
Michael Duddy, Dan Alkowski, Blaine Cunningham, Chris Miner, Jackson Hicks, Corey Meese, Pete Martinez, Max Navalta, Joseph Melly, Jim Hochet, Brent Lancaster, Larry Rapolje, John Anthony, Marcel Miranda, Tom Wayan, Tim Cheech, Tom Gregory, Andrew Lowry, David Lemos, Mitch Kincannon, John Keene, Christopher Scott Douglas, Bill Kraus, H.M. Sanchez, Paul Petroni, and not from AIDS, but from other causes and godfathers of the Grove, Jack Porter, and Ambassador Jim Harmel. May their memories be eternal.
Buck, Robin, Yuri, Tim Lemming, Barry Singer, Seth Miller, Stephen Siam, Richard Lerner, Tom Fleming, Dan Turner, Steve Lindsay, Gary Walsh, Tim Spees, Tom Panagiotorios, Wayne Shanahan, Peter Ensign, James Manis, Gordon Benson, Philip Seymour, Wes Cronk, Art Peterson, Mike Foley, and my partner's son, John Thomas Malloy III.
Reggie Hightower, Gilbert Baker, Richard Mulholland, Jerry McCall, Barry Nielsen, Jeffrey Addison, Chris Chlapek, Sergio Anguiano, Stephen Marcus, Jack Porter, Steve Rozelle, Peter Antanasio, Franco Beneducci, Robert Flynn, Kenneth Archibald, Edward Barnhorn, James Kirkwood, Glenn Brown, Frank Davis, J. Patrick Leach, Andy Seisman, and my dear Uncle Jerry, known by his friends as Scotty, my dear Uncle Jerry Batts. Michael Holloway, Peter Potowski, Waylon Flowers, Paul Sternsby, Chris Chilton, Dick Papich, Keith Herring, Joel Swanby, Paul Pertell, Lance Lowen, Bobby Fields, Tony Levisk, Stephen Kukan, Doug Warner, Daniel Martin, Fausto Elgato, Andrew Nadelson, Thomas Moser, Kendrick Brown, Nikos Kafkalis, Peter Austin, Joe Boo Boo Mescal, Ken McNames, Heather Reese, Billy Cox, Jeff Phillips, David Young, Bobby Hilliard, Marnie Cunningham, Timothy Bollinger, Mike McGinnis, Jerry Weaver, Joe Boxer, Sissy Spaceout, Eddie Eddykins Doty, John Deaton, Daryl Kuhn, James Maxwell Baldwin, Grant DuPont, Ron Forte, Gerald Bowie, Barry Locke, Scott Hilburn, Kevin Miller, Alan Armstrong, Al Baum, Elizabeth Mateer, William Lepel, Charles Carrington, Michael Buller, Chip Miles, Harry Shepard, Franklin Walker, Dan Grace, Ray Gretz, Don Manning, Kevin Sims, Danny Lord, Joseph Perotti, Max Drew, Colt Thomas, Walter Black, Jeff Meyer, Jeff Thur, Terry Sutton, Eric Bassler, Chuck Barr, Irv Riddle, Paul Alsbach, Randy Bird, Geppetto Akpadaka, Anthony Clark, Felicia Elizondo, Louis Simon, Marvin Wayne Carson, Markin Hart, Daniel Pichado, Juan Johnny Manuel Lozoa.
Bill Holt, Ronan Berry, Chris Gonzalez, Jeff Werner, Angela Scott, Tim, Harry Salada, Mark Villim, Gary Browning, Marty Arlen, Kevin Gamil, Daryl A. Loesch, Alan W. Haynes, William Christopher Melchior, Everett Catalano, Madeline, Dan Dryden, Kevin Lay Hennessy, Gary Knopf, Mike Lego, Terry McGovern.
Bill McKinley, John T. Bell, The Man, Steve Fritz, Jim Reuter, Von Duvis Jacobs, The Normal Heart, The Quilt, St. Anthony's Parish, Kelly Crandall, Carolyn Bolton, Cheryl Courtney Evans, AIDS Healthcare Foundation, Deandra Lawson, Gwendolyn Payne, Rosalind Teresa Lohman, Harry, Roosevelt, Stephen, Black Brothers Esteem, John Cyril Hartman, For Those That Suffered in Silence, Daniel Herrera, Alan Louis Landis, Danny Snodgrass.
In loving memory of Timothy Ray Brown, the first person cured of HIV. With immense gratitude, the San Francisco AIDS Foundation Board of Directors honors our Joseph Joe Hollander for his 5 years of fearless and visionary leadership. Alan Greenspan the Mad Hatter of Beach Blanket Babylon, wicked witty, perpetual punster. Dana Francis, UCSF Hemophilia MSW, helped men find their fuller humanity. Peter John Howell, friend, lover, soulmate and husband of John Montfort, now together forever. Victor G.M. Perez, beloved brother, cherished friend, forever in our hearts. Ambassador James C. Hormel, father, husband, friend, philanthropist, humanitarian, trailblazer, our hero. Black Brothers Esteem, founded in 1996. This is about our community, our power, our liberation. Alvin Baum Jr., husband, friend, globetrotter, and philanthropist. Love is the bridge between you and everything. Joe and Henry Masaka, tribe forever. And my very dear friends and comrades from the AIDS Emergency Fund.
Randy Carter, Armando Armaro, Bernard Lebrusquet, David Clark, and my cousin and my mother's flower girl at her wedding, Susan Paraki.
That concludes the reading of the names tonight. If there's anybody else that really wants to read a name, they should come up right away, and you can read a name of a loved one if you want. Other than that, thank you for coming, and thank you. Sorry, we have somebody who wants to read just a few more names.
Nome, Joe Field, John Nagel, Brian, Francisco, David, Walter Branch, Stephen Lund, Chicky, Joe Fields, Dr. Stephen Gum, Willie, Bob Chambers, my loving partner, Michael Lewis Steingraber, and my dear friend, Neil Unger.
Hi. Harold Leslie, my cousin Tom Miller, Kevin Sanchez, anybody got any names out there they want to have me yell out?
Freddie Mercury.
Freddie Mercury, motherfucker. Was that a loss? Ryan White, thank you. He was okay. He was okay because he had, hemophilia. I'm going to tell a terrible joke if you don't mind. Excuse me.
I just have two names, Lamont Westmont and therapist Jesse Miller.
Thank you all for coming this evening. This will be broadcast between 7 and 7:30 if anybody wants to share it at home with friends or family. Again, go forth from here, carry the light, carry the love, carry the community, and be safe. Thank you very much.